Science is used in every aspect of our daily life. Similarly, our existence also depends on science. For example, the air in the atmosphere exerts a pressure on our human body. And yet, as our pressure inside the body is slightly more than the atmospheric pressure, we do not feel it. Today, we will be performing an experiment on the concept of air pressure. For this, we will require a card, a glass, and some water. First, if we place this card on the glass, it will be held in place because this glass acts as a structural base for the card. There is some misconception that this happens because there is a difference in the air pressure outside the glass and inside, but that is actually not true. If the air pressure inside the glass was more than the pressure outside, then the card would have fallen out and the pressure would have forced the card to move out. When as if the air pressure outside the glass was more than the air pressure inside, the card would be forced in. But either of these do not happen. And thus we can conclude that the reason this happens is because the glass appears as a structural base that holds the card up. Now, if we upturn this glass, we will observe that the card will fall down. This is because the base which the glass was applying is not present in this case, and thus the card falls down due to its own weight and the gravitational force of the earth. The atmospheric pressure at sea level is 76 cm of Hg. This was proved by a scientist named Torricelli, and he conducted an experiment in which he used a long thin tube and filled it with mercury, leaving no space for air. One side of the tube was open and he closed that side with a finger. Then he overturned it onto a trough of mercury. Then he observed that the column of the mercury decreased down to the level which was marked as 76 cm of Hg. Any object in air is subjected to pressure from air molecules which are colliding with it. At the sea level, we discussed that the mean air pressure is 76 cm of mercury, which is equal to 1 atmospheric pressure. Now for the next experiment, we will fill this glass completely with water. Now if we place the card on top of it and then invert the glass, the water is supposed to fall down. But will it actually fall down? Let's see. This does not fall down. Now let's see why this happens. The surface tension holds it. The surface tension is the accumulation of the water molecules at a certain point, and the adhesive force in between the card and the water allows it to be held up. When we had inverted the glass, a small portion of the water column had moved down due to the gravity, and thus the pressure which contains the air inside the glass, that air pressure slightly decreases because the volume is increased. And as we know by the Boyle's law, if the mass and temperature is constant, if pressure increases, the volume will decrease and the vice versa. So thus the water is held in place. For the next experiment, we will partially fill this glass with water. Then we will upturn the card and see what happens. Now in this case also, the glass containing the water is held up and the card does not fall down. Why does this happen? This is because we can see that due to the gravity, a small column of the water moves down and thus the column of air increases, thus increasing the volume of air occupied in the glass. And as this increases, the pressure decreases, as discussed before, due to the Boyle's law, and thus the card does not fall down. In this case, the surface tension and the adhesive force between the card and the glass is also working. Now let us see another experiment. If we take a glass with a hole in it and partially fill it with water, then if we close the hole with a finger, then upturn the glass, the card is held in place. But as soon as we remove our finger, the card and the water falls down. Why does this happen? This is because in the other experiments, we saw that the air having higher pressure, which is outside, cannot enter due to no gap. Now, the air with higher pressure enters through the hole and thus it is balanced and the card and water falls down due to gravity. Water can pass through the net easily, but the holes are so close together that the adhesive force to the wire and cohesion with the water keeps it so. Thus, by all these experiments, we can conclude that just like all matter, gas also exerts pressure. Thus, the air in the atmosphere also exerts a pressure on all objects it is in contact with, including us. Thank you for watching this video. Come back next week for another interesting video. Thank you.